What's up, guys? Combine just happened, so we're gonna come back with the new mock draft now. Excited about this one. There was a lot of good stuff that happened at the Combine, a lot of fun stuff to watch, a lot of big time jumps in draft prospects, rankings, and how people view these players overall just because of their athletic ability. There was a lot of big time names. Sonny Styles had a really good combine. Sadiq had a really good combine, broke the record for 40 time. Eli Stowers broke the record for vertical for tight ends. Arvell Reese had a great combine. Offensive lineman had a great combine. 7 out of the 8 position groups finished as the fastest ever. Only the quarterbacks didn't. So it was fun to watch it. Good way to pass the weekend. And now here we are. Let's get into a new mock draft. Obviously, we know Mendoza's 1. It's an easy pick. It's Mendoza. Really, there's nothing. It's almost a certainty at this point. Like, there's nothing unless he bombs an interview completely or, does something horrific. There's no way he doesn't go on here. At 2, the Jets just traded away Jermaine Johnson. So that leaves a huge hole at edge rusher. They got Trevondre Sweat back, so that helps with their run defense, which is phenomenal because their run defense was horrible last year once they traded away Quinnen Williams. So bringing in Trevondre Sweat for Aaron Glenn, that gets him his Lee McNeil, essentially. So now, with 2 years left on him, that fits. That fits their window right now to rebuild. So I think with the edge rusher opening, I'm gonna go Bailey at 2. Great player, on a great defense at Texas Tech. One of the best edge rushers, had a great combine. Came in at over 250. I know it says on here he's 250, but he came in heavier than that, which is really good. He's gaining weight, and the more he gains, the better he'll get in the run defense. I don't think he's going to stay on the field at all times. I think he's going to be more of like a pass down guy, so it's going to take some time. But overall, I think this is a good start for the Jets. Number 3, we got one of the worst teams in the entire league, the Arizona Cardinals. As you can see, they need tackle, guard, quarterback, wide receiver, corner. They have a new coach in Mike LaFleur. Mike LaFleur. Matt LaFleur's brother. So they need a ton of help. This is a long-term rebuild, and I think LaFleur knows that. I think the entire Cardinals organization knows that. They're reportedly releasing Kyler. So at this point, they have no reason to attempt to compete. So most likely, people are going to get traded away. We're going to see a lot of change in Arizona. But I think you got to start with the trenches. I think Maui Goa comes in here. I don't think he competed at the Combine. Maybe I missed him. I don't know for sure. But he had good tape at Miami. Not great this past season, but pretty good, pretty solid. Can play left or not left. He could play right guard, right tackle. And you have Paris Johnson Jr., who's your left tackle. You can slide Maui Goa right in as your right tackle. And now you have your two tackles solidified if you want to move Maui Go on the inside. There you go. Now you get a guard. You just get another guy to solidify the trenches, and I think that was extremely important to get for this Cardinals to start their rebuild. Next up, Tennessee. They were on the other end of this trade with the Jets. They got Jermaine Johnson. Saleh gets his guy that he drafted in New York. Guy he loved. Johnson had his best year under Saleh. So I think it works out for both teams in a way. I'm going to go best player available. Arvell Reese here. Great combine. Ran a 4.46. Same as Sonny Styles. Like, they both had great combines. Arvell Reese. Just the upside at playing both edge and off-the-ball linebacker for the Titans is amazing. They have no talent outside of Jermaine Johnson, Jeffrey Simmons, and now Arvell Reese. So to get a guy who can play off the ball, on the ball, you can run different packages, and Saleh is one of the best defensive-minded coaches in the league. So overall, it helps Arvell Reese, who it did not seem like he wants to go to New York. So he goes to Tennessee at 4. He still gets paid top draft dollar. So it works out for him too. Number 5, we got New York Giants. There's reports coming out that Harbaugh wants to bring in his own new running back system, and Scatabo could potentially be on the trade block right now. So I think with that being said, I don't know if they get Kenneth Walker. I've seen two names. I've seen Kenneth Walker and I've seen Jeremiah Love here. So in honor of that, I'm going to do Jeremiah Love here. He had a great combine, ran that 4.36. So, I mean, he's a great player. Definitely a top 5 talent, probably, like, potentially best player on the board at this point. So, it's not a terrible pick for me, but I think it's a weird pick with the positional need as well. But when you're picking this high, positional need is not always the biggest thing. So, it's whatever. Cleveland at 6. Here's another guy who had a fantastic combine, Spencer Fano. Browns just traded for Titus Howard, gave him an extension. That's going to be probably your right tackle, and you're going to get Fano and probably slide him in either at left tackle or he's going to go and play guard for you. Or potentially even center. He has the versatility to play any spot on the entire offensive line, which is fantastic, which is why he's going so high, which is why he's rated so high. Great player at Utah as well. He's willing to do anything to win, as he said in one of his interviews at the Combine. Great personality, great player, great person. So to go get protection for Shedeur is critical now at this point because Todd Monken loves Shedeur, so it looks like Shedeur is going to be the guy in Cleveland for at least this year. So getting a guy like Fano to go protect him, get him more time in the pocket so he's not going and throwing and running around like a chicken with his head cut off. So Fano, I think, is a good pick up there for the Browns. Now, I personally don't like this pick. I mean, I think a lot of people are overreacting a little bit to the short arms, but I think he's still a very good player. I just don't know if he's a top 10 talent at this point with those arms, because you don't typically see a player with very short arms playing pure edge rusher work out in the NFL. I mean, Micah Parsons worked out, but at the same time he was an off-ball linebacker coming into the NFL, and he doesn't have below 31-inch arms. But at the same time, Washington needs help on their defense at any spot. I think defensive end was a huge need for them. So to be able to get the run defense aspect of Ruben Bain, even if that's the elite part and he doesn't have the elite pass rush that they would hope for, I think it's still a good pick overall for the Commanders, especially when you're in a division with Saquon, Javonte Williams, Scatabo currently, and then in this mock draft, Jeremiah Love. We don't know what happens with Scatabo. You need to be able to stop the run. So, I mean, getting the best run-stopping defensive end in all of college football, or at least in this draft, it's a pretty good pick. Saints are going the man who lit up the combine, Sonny Styles. Demario Davis he's at the end. Great player, had a fantastic career in New Orleans, but you need to get younger on that defense. You have Kellen Moore in there. He has a lot of job security. Did great in his first year. Didn't win a ton of games. Won more games than expected. Tyler Shuck's looking like their franchise guy right now. And that's because of Kellen Moore. You would love to get a weapon for him. You would have loved Jeremiah Love here at 8. Didn't fall that way. So I think you go get another Ohio State guy who lit up the combine. Another Ohio State guy from off the board now. His intangibles are insane. His tape is great. His pass against the run, it's very good. He's very good against the run. He needs to work a little bit in pass coverage, but it'll work. He's going to work. So, Sonny Styles at 8. 9. Kansas City. Jeremiah Love's off the board. That's their dream pick. I could see it being like Carnell Tate, receiver, something. I just don't think that's good for them right here. They run a lot of multiple tight end sets, and you have Kelsey potentially retiring this season, and if not, most likely next season. Mahomes coming off an injury, receivers constantly hurt. You need more, with more receivers getting hurt, more likely a higher tight end set. Guy who just ran a 4.39, the fastest tight end in all of combine history. Great tape, can run block. An elite pass catcher, can do it all. Like, he's one of the best tight end prospects I've ever seen. Bowers, Pitts, Vernon Davis, and Kenyon Sadiq. These guys were elite. Sadiq was actually comped to be Vernon Davis. So I'm going to go Kenyon Sadiq at 9. Get him up there in the top 10. Cincinnati. Cincinnati, they have a specific way they draft. They always are so stuck up on like specific little things, and I mean it hurts them sometimes. Like last year they took Shamar Stewart. They had better value picks after that, but also their ownership is not very good right now. It's not looking good as of right now, but I think a guy that fits their type of drafting is Caleb Downs. Best player available. He's a safety that helps, complements Jordan Battle. Best player in the draft for me, personally, outside of Mendoza. I mean, Mendoza's not really my best player in the draft, but he's my number 1 guy just because he's going number 1 no matter what. And the quarterback position is so needy. But, safety's not, one of those premier positions, which is why going at 10 is so surprising sometimes. But I think in this type of draft, I think best player available is the best pick. So, Caleb Downs at 10. Miami, who is having an absolute overhaul of players, coaching staff, everything's done. They just wrapped everything up. They cut Tua, cut Tyreek too. They cut Bradley Chubb. They're trying to trade Minka. They have nothing. The only two players on this roster that are actually staying for long term is A-Chain and Waddle. I mean, they're two good players, but that's not a foundation right there. I think right here you have a wide receiver need currently because whoever's coming in at quarterback needs guys to throw to. Whether that's Quinn Ewers or a guy coming in next year. So I'm gonna go Carnell Tate. He's my number one wide receiver. I think he I think he complements Waddle's game very well. Waddle's kind of like that. Like, he can go all around the field and essentially be like that slot kind of guy. Carnell Tate's more of that outside X, can find zones, can take you over the top, can do pretty much anything. So I think both of those guys together creates a very good duo in Miami. And then you also have A-Chain, so I think you have a good offensive trio right there, and you can just build around that going forward. Dallas. This is their first pick in the draft. They have 2 firsts. For me, I'm going to go Falk. You could argue it could be corner, Jermod McCoy. It could be defensive tackle. You don't know. But I think Falk, he's probably the best edge rusher on the board right now. Didn't have amazing tape last year. Still, a very good player. Can do a lot. And I believe will be a very good player, barring any injuries. But I think for Dallas, they want a guy, they just want to replace Micah, essentially. And I think Keldrick Falk is a potential to that, but also that elevates Donovan Azaraku's game, which I think is more of like a Micah Parsons type player at this point. With the pass rush, I think Falk will be good as in the run to start his career, and moving forward can work on his pass rush. Rams. This is the James Pierce trade. Probably going to go down as one of the worst trades ever, especially if James Pierce, depending on what happens with his whole situation, I don't know whether or not he's going to ever be able to play, or maybe it's a year. I don't know if suspension worthy, if he's in jail, if he's in prison, like who knows. But Rams got this pick from Atlanta. Dream scenario would probably be Tyson, but I think his injury history is pretty bad. But I'm going to go Delane here, just based specifically on needs. They really need a corner. They have 4 corners that are free agents right now. Kobe Durant, Roger McCreary, Ahkello Witherspoon, and Darion Kendrick are all free agents. They have no starters at corner returning besides Emmanuel Forbes. Emmanuel Forbes is there. Maybe you re-sign one of these guys. You need to get somebody else in there. You need to get cheaper as well, because you're going to have to pay Jared Verse, you're going to have to pay Byron Young. You're going to have to pay all these guys that you have on your defensive line, so now you're not going to have money to go pay your corners. So getting cheaper with Delane, you get the best corner in the draft. It all kind of adds up, works out. Ravens. Losing Tyler Linderbaum, most likely. I think they're going to get outbid, essentially. Putting that into factors, why not go get the best interior offensive lineman? You could look and go, say, hey, Proctor maybe could play the interior with his athleticism, maybe. But I'm going to go the overall best for me, he's the overall best offensive lineman. He's probably a top 10 talent to me. You get Vega, he can play guard. You can go move pieces around, but you overall get a guy who will do anything for the team. I think positional value is a big thing that plays into this. Why he's available at 14 when I said I believe he's a top 10 talent. If he was an offensive tackle playing at that level, he would be going here at 3. But being a guard, it's not as valued as high. So he drops. I think he has a great personality too. It showed at the combine. He's a great player, great person, and I like him here at 14 to the Ravens. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm actually going Jordan Tyson. I have not seen this mock anywhere. This is just me coming up with this on my own. I've seen rumors that Mike Evans is gone. I don't want to say that he's gone, but he's most likely going to go somewhere else. I've seen reports that the Eagles are looking to sign him. I've seen reports that the Bills are going to look to sign him. I don't know how true that is. It's always like these reports. You never know if they're true or not. You never know if somebody's just talking. Who knows? But I think if Mike Evans does walk, what do you have at wide receiver? You have Igbuka, who you drafted last year. Great pick. Great pick for them. Then you have Godwin. Godwin has huge injury concerns. Then who's on the field after that? Tez Johnson? Tez Johnson has not developed very much. So I think getting an X receiver like Jordan Tyson, now he does have injury concerns, but I'm hoping he can hold up in this scenario here. So Tyson goes to the Bucs. Jets' second pick. This is their pick from the Sauce Gardner trade. You get Bailey. You could always look to go get a receiver opposite of Garrett Wilson, but I think with all those first-round picks next year, the offense is supposed to be a very high-value draft next year. All the quarterbacks, receivers, you can use your picks wisely next year on the offense. I think this year is going to specifically target defense just so Aaron Glenn can get some talent on that roster. I don't know how long Aaron Glenn is there specifically, but just to start the season, you need talent on that roster. You traded all of his talent away. No wonder the defense sucked. He had no talent. So you get him the edge rusher. You get him a defensive tackle already. Why not go get him a corner? Go replace Sauce Gardner with the pick that you got for Sauce Gardner. I think McCoy is a great pick. Although the injury concerns are a big thing. There's a lot of injury concerns in this draft as overall. But sometimes you got to deal with it. He was the best corner in all of college football 2 seasons ago. And if Aaron Glenn can get even 3/4 of that, he's the best corner on the board at this point. So I would love to see McCoy go and replace Sauce Gardner. 17, Detroit. Detroit is... There's a lot of things that Detroit needs. They took a huge back step last year. Injuries over the past 2 years have been insane. Saying that, I think defense overall is a big thing for them just because of the injury concerns. I could see corner, maybe Colton Hood. That's a pick, potentially. But I would like to see Akeem Messidor. Akeem Messidor is pretty good. He's a pretty good guy. He's can play stand up on the outside. He can rush as a 5 tech. He could be a 7 tech, a 9 tech. Just a guy opposite of Aiden Hutchinson would be incredible. They need to save money because they don't have any money now because their roster is so expensive. So why not go draft the guy that can stay there for 4 years through the rest of Aiden Hutchinson's contract, and you get two very good pass rushers on the outside. Now you worry about the rest of your defense. You don't have to worry about your defensive line at all. And you can worry about free agency in the draft and the rest of the draft for your DBs. You can worry about your offensive line, any wide receiver concerns. So I think Messidor at 17 makes a lot of sense. 18 here is Minnesota, division rival. Next pick. There's a lot of needs on this roster just because they're going to be cutting a lot of players. They already cut Hargrave. They cut Aaron Jones. Looking at this, the board, they don't need receiver. I don't really think they need much on the offensive line. Peter Woods would be a good pick. Lee Hunter, like any defensive lineman, would be a good pick. But I'm going to go another guy who lit up the combine, Dylan Thieneman. Coming into the season, Thieneman was actually mocked to the Vikings to say he was a potential Harrison Smith replacement. I'm going to say the same thing. He could replace Harrison Smith, but I think at the same time, he can step in right now and play on the field with Harrison Smith. He can play deep, he can play in the box, he can play in the slot. He has such versatility that he can play at any moment in any package and succeed. So I think with a Brian Flores type defense that has used safeties in the slot before with John Medalis, so why not go grab Dylan Thieneman? Make him your future safety. And he's done great wherever he's gone. He went to Purdue, he was great, and now he's with Oregon, and he was great there too. So I think Thieneman at 18 is a pretty good pick for them. Panthers at 19 here. Looking how the board's going, they don't need a receiver. Maybe, you could say maybe offensive lineman, but they have so much put into their offensive line right now that it's risky. Defense, they need edge rusher, corner, safety. Why not go get a corner? Because they had some injuries there. J.C. Horn was out multiple games. You had to worry about who was on the field at corner, and now if you go grab Colton Hood, who I don't believe has any injury history in college. Maybe he did when he was with Colorado. I'm not 100% sure. Don't clip me on that. But overall, I think Colton Hood would be a great addition to go opposite of J.C. Horn. You got two lockdown corners now, and now you just worry about the rest of your defense, linebacker, and your interior defensive line. So I think Colton Hood works out. 20, Dallas, their second first-round pick. You look at the board, Makai Lemon here. I think this is only a pick happens depending on what happens with the Pickens situation. He got franchise tagged. He doesn't like it. He wants to get a full-time extension. He won't sign the franchise tag until he gets an extension. So he won't go to the building until he gets an extension. So I think he could fight his way out of Dallas just naturally, just because of how stubborn Jerry Jones has been in the past with paying players. So why not go find a guy like Lemon? Now, he had apparently bombed some interviews. I don't know how true that is or how much that plays into effect here. And maybe that's why he could fall. But I think depending on the Pickens situation is mainly why this pick is made. Steelers. When I think of the Steelers, a big name that comes to mind that does not fit well on their team is Broderick Jones. He has been horrible. You need to replace Broderick Jones. I'm going to go Lomo. Broderick Jones just sucks. I mean, I don't want to trash the guy, but he has not developed with Pittsburgh. Maybe it's Pittsburgh, maybe it's them, but overall, I think they just need to find a replacement. And Lomu, who had a good year with Utah, can go pair up with I'm blanking on their Fautano. I think his name is Fautano. That they got a couple years ago. Maybe. Yeah, sounds familiar. But so, go get Caleb Lomu. Chargers. This was a big injury team, and I think no matter what, you have to go offense or defensive line. I'm gonna go offensive line. I think Proctor's going to wow a lot of teams and a lot of scouts just with his pure athleticism. Being that big and then at 350 to 360, I don't think he's 370 like this says, 369. I don't think he's that heavy, especially after the combine. But he's crazy athletic. I think he could move inside, he could stay outside. So I think with the potential of them cutting Mekhi Becton, you could see Proctor moving and just going right and plugging into that spot. So Proctor makes sense right here with Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater coming back at the beginning of the year as well. Injury history there for both of them, so you also got Proctor to go be a replacement if you need be. So makes sense. Eagles. There's a lot of rumors going around with their defensive line about how they're gonna re-sign Phillips right now. Re-sign Phillips, get extensions done with their defensive tackles, get Nolan Smith under extension. So I'm not gonna go edge rusher here, based on that news. Don't need a linebacker. Corner would be helpful. Maybe safety too as well, like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I love him. But I'm going to go and just look towards the future to get this offense cheaper, because you can't pay all these defensive players now without getting cheaper on the opposite side of the ball. So for me, I'm going to go Blake Miller. There's a lot of people talking about Monroe Freeling potentially. And I mean, he had a great combine. He's probably one of the most athletic tackles in the whole combine. But I just don't like how he doesn't have experience. Blake Miller has the experience, and I think while also playing very well and having a decent combine, I'm going to take the experience over Freeling. So take Blake Miller. He's going to be your potential replacement for Lane in a year or two. So, and also Lane has lingering injuries. So maybe he steps in this year. Who knows? Browns, their second pick. Big guy who took a jump here from his combine performance. I'm going Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana. He does everything. He can do anything on the field. He's willing to put in the work, and I think in a Todd Monken offense, like he was with the Ravens, they're going to attempt to run the ball a lot. So having a guy who can be on the field at all times like Amari Cooper kind of reminds me of his play style is kind of like Puka, where he's just willing to get down and dirty, like Amon-Ra too. They can just be on the field at all times, and you can build an entire offense around that. So I think getting Amari Cooper to pair with Jerry Jeudy and just overall just give Shedeur another weapon. So Amari Cooper had a great combine, shot himself up into the first round. He was a projected second, maybe third round pick. I think he just had such a great combine that now he's going to go in the first round. Chicago. Defensive tackle, safety, edge rusher. I think for them, that's their three main needs right now, and linebacker too, because they need to produce pass rush. And I think right now, if you look at the edge rushers, T.J. Parker's not going to create a crazy amount of pass rush. Derek Moore, no. Zion Young, he will. But I think that's too early for him. Cassius Howell, I just don't know if they're going to like him. Definitely could see the defensive line, maybe Peter Woods. But, like, all these guys are for run defense. Caleb Banks, maybe. Safety, I love Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I think the Bears have 5 safeties. Yeah, they have about 5 safeties that are free agents. So, yeah, they need to get a safety in there. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren was great at Toledo. Can hit. He's a great tackler. He was described as a predator. When I've seen like mocks on him, not like mocks, but like comps on him, like a predator. The way he tackles, like it's just like such a late hit, like a strike. And I just like I had to watch his film, and I love what I see from him. And I think coming out of Toledo, another guy, Quinyon, came out of Toledo a couple years ago. Toledo's becoming a DB factory now. So, good to see Emmanuel McNeil-Warren in the first round. Buffalo. A lot of people are mocking Denzel Boston to Buffalo. I'm going to go somewhere else because I think with the report or rumor that Joe Brady wants to make Keon Coleman their number 1 option, that's their X receiver. Then you have Khalil Shakir, so you're not going to go and take Casey Concepcion because they're the same player. I think if you look at this team, they need an edge rusher. I'm going to go T.J. Parker. T.J. Parker, I think, can succeed in a 3-4 system. Jim Leonard is their new DC. He brings a 3-4 system, 3-4 scheme. So I think bringing in T.J. Parker, who can play in a 3-4 scheme, makes sense. Get a young edge rusher on this roster, a guy who can put his hand in the dirt and get after the quarterback, stop the run. He can do everything. I don't think he's elite at anything, so he's not like it's weird. He's not like a master of anything, but I think he can develop into a master of something. Niners. Denzel Boston actually feels like a good pick for them. He's 6'4", measured in at 6'4" at the combine. Is an elite, just go up and get it guy. It makes sense here to the Niners. Ayuk's gone. They don't want Ayuk in that building anymore. They want to get off his contract. You don't know when Kittle's coming back with his injury. Ricky Pearsall's there. Juwan Jennings is a free agent. You don't know if you get Juwan Jennings back. Now, you have one receiver, and then you have, like, Jake Tunges, and then CMC. So, unless you want everything going to CMC more than it did last year, maybe go draft a receiver. Texans. They traded away Titus Howard. They need an offensive tackle. We'll go Monroe Freeling. I think his upside is very high. He's has a lot of potential. I don't think any of these other guys are worth a first round pick. Maybe they could have gone Pregnon to help their interior offensive line. But I think you trade away Titus Howard, go get another tackle, a guy who's going to stay strictly outside. Has a lot of the intangibles, and if coached correctly, I believe will succeed. But my only issue with him is his inexperience, as I said before. LA again, they took Delane at 13. I was looking at this earlier, and I saw the potential that if they took Emmanuel Pregnon, I'm going to do this. Emmanuel Pregnon could come in, sit for a year, slot in at left guard immediately after that. If they re-sign Steve Avila, they move him to center, which was his natural position in college. I think I like that. You get a guy who maybe Stafford stays another year after this upcoming year. That would be his 19th season. So maybe he does, but even if he doesn't, then you have a guy who's going to be a core piece of an offensive line that's going to be there for a rookie quarterback. So I like Pregnon at 29 here. Broncos. Why not? I think they have a couple defensive tackles like John Franklin Myers or something on in free agency or like needs an offer. Why not go get Caden McDonald? I think he had a good combine. I think he's probably the best defensive tackle in this draft. Overall, like as an overall talent, like I know this says Peter Woods and then Lee Hunter, but I personally think Caden McDonald's better. After what I saw from Lee Hunter at the combine, I don't like it very much. And Peter Woods, I can't remember if he was at the combine or not. It's getting foggy. It's been a couple days, but Caden McDonald can slot in right in that defensive line. He's not going to get you crazy sack numbers. He's not like, I don't think he's great against the pass, but like just having him there for rundowns will help the Broncos even more on an already elite defensive line. Patriots. We got the defensive tackles up. I love Caleb Banks. He scored a perfect score on his athleticism score at the combine. He reminds me of Jordan Davis. Like in that aspect of his like athleticism, he's 6'6", he's huge. Elite pass rush upside. Very like as it says, Caleb Banks broke out with 4 sacks and 7 TFLs in 2024, showing off blue chip raw tools in the process. At 6'6", 325, his arms over 35 inches long. He is huge. Getting him in there with Milton Williams, that's one of the best defensive tackle rooms in the league. Now, the only issue is injuries. He had a bad leg injury. And it kept getting retweaked and re-aggravated and I mean, it shows one thing, that he loves football. He wants to be on the field at all times. But that needs to get under control. Like I think with an NFL team, that'll get under control better. And like he'll be held out of games just because of his ankle or like if he has an injury. So I think that will clear up eventually. But he needs to heal from this injury that he has right now. And he retweaked it at the combine. I remember watching it. He's running his 40. Or running through the first drill. It was one of those two things, and he retweaked his ankle and stepped off the field. But I think Caleb Banks would be a very good pick. I mean, the Patriots, a lot of people probably want them to take offensive line. But I mean, outside of potentially like Jennings Dunker or like Bisontis, there's not much there, and I think they could probably they're there in the second round. So I think you take the upside on Caleb Banks. Finally, to finish it out, this This is going to be a weird pick, because you could go see them go get like Brandon Cisse, Avion Terrell, which actually I'm kind of surprised they didn't take Terrell already in this draft, because I think he solidified himself as a first-round pick. So next mock draft, I'm going to have to get him up in the first. Could potentially see a linebacker. Don't really see it. Maybe they go and grab one of these, like reach on a edge rusher. Don't really see it. Maybe they go get a defensive tackle with Leonard Williams coming to the end. Offensively, they're not going to go Ty Simpson. Why not? Why not go get the guy who's been mocked as Kenneth Walker for years? Like that's his comp has been Kenneth Walker. I think if you let Kenneth Walker go and then go grab Jadarian Price at 32, you free up money that you can use elsewhere. You can go re-sign somebody. Go get maybe Boye Mafe back with the money you were going to give Kenneth Walker, and give it to Boye Mafe and a little bit more. Keep Boye Mafe there. You get Jadarian Price. And then on top of that, Shaheed, you can let Shaheed walk, because now you just got the best kick returner in the whole draft with Jadarian Price. So he brings a lot of versatility to that team, and I think a team like the Seahawks, he would fit perfectly there. That's honestly probably his perfect spot. But that's it for this post combine mock draft. No trades yet. Maybe we'll do trades next week. I don't know. They're hard to predict. Maybe I'll do some. Maybe I'll work on some trades next week. Yeah. Trying to think. How long do we have until the draft? Just over a month and a half. I think we'll start doing like 2-round mock drafts in a couple weeks. 2-3 rounds. Yeah. Well, that's it for the video. Might start posting more this week. Don't know what I'm gonna post about. Probably just talking random stuff. Maybe, March Madness isn't really my thing. I watch it, but I'm not like, I don't know it. So that wouldn't be a good thing to talk about. I'll talk about free agency. I could talk about free agency where I could predict guys. So there'll probably be another video out this week. Maybe Friday. Well, good mock draft. See you guys.